Alright guys, so we're going to get started on our property listings Angular 2 Firebase website or application. First thing we're going to do is set up Firebase. So you're going to want to go to firebase.google.com, and from here, if you want to look around at the documentation, you can do that, but you're going to want to go to your console. Okay, so I'm going to click on go to console, and that's going to automatically log me in, and you can see I have the dev database or project here from the demo I showed you, but we're going to create a new project. Okay, so let's go ahead and click that, and we're going to call this, I'm just going to call it prop listings. Okay, click create project, and then you'll see an interface like this, and then you have three areas here: add Firebase to your iOS app, to Android, and to web. Okay, now if we click this right here, it's going to open up a pop-up like this, and it's going to give you all of your app's information, your API key, your auth domain, database URL, things like that. And we're going to need this later on. Okay, we're not going to need it just yet. And then over here you have your authentication. Okay, so this is where all your users would show up. You have your databases, where you can create databases with collections, and your storage. And this is where we'll actually be storing the listing images. Now, if we click on rules, I'm sorry, not that. I want to go to database and then click on rules, and you'll see that read and write are set to this auth not equal null. What this means is that in order to read and write to your databases, the user has to be authenticated. Now, you can change this if you want to. If you don't want them to have to authenticate, you could simply set these to true, but we do want authentication, so I'm going to leave it. Alright, now what I want to do is go to authentication and then sign in method, and we're going to enable Google. Okay, so we just want to click this little switch here and then click save. So now we can write code to allow people to authenticate using their Google account. Alright, and we may get to some of these other ones later on, but for now we're just going to use that. And then let's go to database, and we want to create a listings database or a listings collection. So right here we're just going to say listings and click go. Okay, and that's it. We now have a listings collection. Now we're going to need some initial data to work with, so I have in the description a link of a JSON file that you can import that has a couple listings. So go ahead and download that, and then we're going to just say import JSON, and I'm going to find it. It's in my downloads right here. We'll say import, and now we have some listings. Okay, you can see we have the bedroom, city, image, owner. Now the path I just set to image, mansion. This might change when we actually use the Firebase storage, but for now we'll just put the images local. Okay, so now you have some listings to work with. We should be all set with Firebase, at least for now. So now we can go and create our Angular app. Now I'm going to go into my projects folder, and from here we're going to run ng. Oh, actually, if you don't have Angular CLI installed, then you need to install that. So you want to do npm install -g Angular CLI. Okay. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to run that, but that'll install it globally so that you can use the ng commands from wherever. Alright, so once you have that installed, we're going to do ng new, and then the name of your application. So I'm just going to call this prop listings. Alright, so let's run that, and that should create a prop listings folder for us. Now while that's going on, let's open up the Angular Fire 2 documentation. Oops, I don't want that. Okay, we need to install this as well. If we go down here, so we need to install Firebase and Angular Fire 2, and we need to bring that in here. Now in this example, they're using it right in the component. What we want to do is create a service and use it from there. Okay, it's a much neater way to do it than to just do this right here. But basically, we're bringing it in there, including it right here as a dependency. So we can use AF down here, and we can just call af.database.list and then we would have listings or whatever collection you want to use. Okay, and then we get those back, and then we can loop through them with ng4 and then output the listings. Alright, now it's not going to work right away for us because we have authentication enabled, so we have to handle that as well before we can actually see the data that comes back. Alright, and if that sounds difficult, don't worry about it. It's not too bad. Alright, so let's cd into prop listings, and then we're going to install our dependencies. So let's do npm install. We need Firebase, Angular Fire 2, and let's see, we also want Angular 2 flash messages, and I think that's it for dependencies. Yeah, that should be it. Alright, let's just add -- save so that it puts it into our package.json file. Alright, so now that that's all set, we can go ahead and run our dev server with ng-serve, and that should open it up on port 4200. I'm going to open up a new tab here, and we'll go to localhost 4200, and we get AppWorks. Okay, let's open up the Chrome console as well, hit F12, and then the next thing I want to do is create our components. Okay, so I'm going to open up my text editor, which I'm using Atom, but of course you can use whatever you'd like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up that folder as a project, and let's see, projects, prop listings. Alright, and I'm going to get rid of all this other stuff that I have open. Okay, so let's see, we don't want these. Alright, so here's our prop listings. Now, we have our source folder here with the app folder. That's where all of our components and services are going to go. That's where most of our work is. I'm not going to go over the basics of Angular 2. If you guys really don't understand how components work and things like that, I would definitely suggest stopping and going to the Angular 2 in 60 minutes course that I have on YouTube and really getting to know how Angular works, because I'm not going to be able to explain every little thing. Alright, but what we want to do is we want to create some components. So I'm going to create a new folder called components, and then we can use the Angular CLI to do that. So I'm going to leave the server running here and then go down to this terminal, and let's go into projects, and then into prop listings. And then from here, we want to go into the source folder, and then app, and then the components folder that we just created. And now to create a component, we can do ng-g for generate, component, and then whatever we want to call it. So let's create the home component. Okay, so let's take a look at what that did. If we look in components, there's now a folder called home, and we have a home.component.ts file. That's the main TypeScript file. Then we have the HTML file, which is the template. It also gives us a CSS file and then a spec file for testing. Okay, so it created all that for us. And then if we look in the app.module.ts, it also inserted it right here. It's importing it, and then it added it in the declarations. Okay, so if you weren't using Angular CLI, then you would just have to create that stuff yourself. Okay, so Angular CLI really does save a lot of time. Okay, so let's generate some more components. So I'm going to just hit the up key, and then we're going to do ng-g component, and let's do listings. Okay, so that'll basically just be the list of listings, and then let's do generate component navbar, because we want to have a navbar. Let's do generate component, let's see, listing, and this is going to be for the single listing. Let's do what else? Add list, excuse me, add listing. That'll be the add form. We also want an edit listing for the edit form. And I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. Okay. And you can see that it just imported all of those files for us right here and also added it here. So what we want to do now is create our router because we're going to have different routes. We're going to have the home route, the listings. Let's see, is that it? Yeah, home and listing, and then the add listing, and then the edit listing. So to use the router, we actually have to bring it into our app.module.ts file. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to import, and we want to bring in router module and routes, and that's going to be from Angular/router. Let's see, let's get rid of that. Okay, now when we bring in the router, we have to also add it to, we need to add it to our imports down here. Okay, so let's put a comma here and we'll say router module, and then we got to do dot for root, and in here we're going to pass in app routes, which is going to be the array that we store our routes in. Okay, so let's go up here and create that. So we're going to do const app routes, and we're going to set that to, actually we're going to give it a type of routes, and then we're going to set it to an array of route objects. So this will have a path. This is going to be the home page, so we leave it blank, and then specify the component, which will be the home component. Alright, then we'll put a comma there, and let's say path. Okay, this one will be for listings. The component is going to be the listings component. Okay, and that's all I'm going to put for now. So let's save that, and then we're going to have to just put in the router outlet. We're going to put that in the main app component. So you want to go to app.component.html, and right here let's put router outlet, just like that, and we'll save. Okay, and we get home works. Let me just clear this down here and reload, make sure there's no errors, and then if we go to /listings, we get listings works. Okay, so our router is working. Now let's add the navbar. So we're going to put the navbar right here. Actually, it's going to be app-navbar. Whenever you generate a component with Angular CLI, it's going to put app in front of the whatever you call the component. Okay, for the selector. And then I'm just going to put a div here with the class of container because we're going to be using Bootstrap. Alright, so now if we take a look, you see we have navbar works, that's outputting here. Okay, now for Bootstrap, we're going to use bootswatch. And we're going to use the, let's see, which one was it? Was it readable? Shit, I forget which one it was. I think it was Cosmo. Yeah, because the primary one is the Firebase color. So if I click download, I'm just going to grab this link here, and we're going to put that in our index.html. Okay, save that. And now if we go over to our app, it should be implemented. Yeah, you can see the container pushes this over. Okay, so now we need to add the navbar. Let's go to the navbar component HTML file. And what I'm going to do is go to getbootstrap.com, and we're going to go to getting started and then examples, and the starter template right here. Do a Control U, and we'll grab this nav tag here. Okay, this is the responsive nav bar, and we're going to just paste it right in there. And let's change the project name to prop listings, and I'm going to get rid of the fixed top class right here. And down here, let's see, for home, we're going to use the router link. Let's get rid of the active class, and let's replace this href with router link, and we want to set that to a set of brackets, and in here we'll just put a slash. Okay, it's going to go to the home, and then we don't need that bracket right there, so then we'll copy that, put that on this one, and then this is going to go to listings. Okay, we'll get rid of this last one. So let's save that and take a look. Okay, and now we can switch back and forth from home and listings. Now when we're done, if you're not logged in, you won't see this listings, but for now we're just going to leave it. It's fine. So let's go and add the home page content, which isn't much. Let's see, we're going to go to home and then home component HTML, and let's just put a div, give it a class of Jumbotron and text center, and then in here let's do a container, and an h1, and then a paragraph, we'll say access the hottest properties available. Okay, and then we're going to have the Google login with Google button. So the image, I'm going to put that in the link in the description inside of the zip file. You can grab that, and let's do image source, and we're going to set that to assets/img/google.png. Now this is going to actually have an event, a click event, but I'm not going to put it on there yet. I just want to get it displaying first. So I'm going to open up my project folder. Let's see, projects, and it's going to go into source, assets, and let's create a folder called img, and then that's where you're going to put that image. I'm just going to bring it over. Alright, so now if we reload, there we go. That's our home page. And actually, before we stop this part of the series, I'm going to add the login link as well. It's not going to work yet, but I just want to get it in there. So let's go back to the nav bar, and I'm going to copy. Actually, I'm going to add a class navbar left, and we're going to grab this, paste it right there, and then change this to navbar right. Get rid of one of these, and then this is going to be this is actually going to be a click event, so I'm just going to remove this. We'll just put an href for now, and then change this to login. Alright, so let's reload, and now we have our login. You know what, we might as well put our add listing link as well. So let's grab this right here, and then this is going to go to add listing. We'll add that route as well. So let's save that, and then let's go back to the app module TS and just add that as a route. I'm going to copy that. So this will be add dash listing, and then it's going to be the add listings component. Alright, so let's test that out. What's this saying? Oh, what the hell? Stupid autocomplete thing. So that should be add listings component, correct? Or add listing, no S. There we go. So that should work. All right. Let me clear this. So that's home, that's listing. What is going on? Add listing. Get rid of the S. There we go. Okay, so now the navigation's working good. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop here, and in the next video we're going to implement Firebase, and I'm not 100% positive if we're going to do authentication first or we're going to try and fetch the listings, even though we won't be able to see them before we authenticate. So we'll probably go with the authentication, but we're going to have to add all of that metadata that we saw here. So this right here, the API key, all that good stuff. Okay, so that's what we're going to get to next. As far as when the video will be released, it might be tomorrow or it might be the next day. But it should be within the next couple days. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, please do, and I will see you in the next video.